All right, so the last thing we checked was the vertical line. We figured out that the slope was undefined. The y-intercept was undefined. The only value we did have was the x-intercept. So our formula then becomes x equals 5. Okay, there's a couple questions we want to answer. Question 1. How does slope value influence steepness and direction of the lines? Noah's going to tell us succinctly what the answer to that question is.
The slope influences the steepness of the line. Because like the higher it is, the steeper it will be, and the influences the direction, depending on if it's positive or negative.
So the greater the value of m, which is the slope, the steeper it will be. Good? Okay, and the positive or negative determines direction. So slope up is positive. Up is positive and vice versa for negative. Question 2. Carlson, talking to Jacob. Given the equation of line, how could you tell if the line was horizontal or vertical?
If you draw the line, then you'll see if it's horizontal or vertical.
If you draw the line from the equation, so you're subbing in points,
Yeah.
okay, you could. There's an easier way though. Just from the equation, it says given the equation, so how are you going to know? Josh?
If the slope is 0, if it's horizontal, and if there's no slope or no line or stuff, then it's vertical.
Right, so y equals value. If this is any value, we know it's horizontal. If x equals just a value, let's say, put in a value here just so we don't get confused. Putting that down so that we don't confuse that with another variable, 5 or 3 or any constant. Constant is just another word for a number, no variable. Or any constant. We get vertical. Okay, question number 3. Ryan. In the linear relation, y equals mx plus b, how did the position and slope of the line change as m and b change?
Because B is where you're supposed to start on the y-axis. And
Good.
B is-
So b is y intercept. Okay, and you're saying where you start, which is fine. Yeah, and
And because it shows how far you, how much you rise and how much you run.
m increase, we get a steeper slope. And if we have m is greater than 0 or less than 1, we get a very slight slope. Let's change this to greater than 1. All right, question 4. Michael right there. Given y equals mx plus b, how could you determine the line slope and y-intercept? Use an example in your explanation. What do you think, Michael? You're given this. It's kind of a repeat of question 3, right? So what's the slope? I'll give you the example, okay, Michael? If I give you the example, y equals negative 3x minus 5, okay? So how can we determine the slope here?
Put in points for x.
Put in points for x? No, we can just look at this. Okay, remember it's in the same format, Michael. Right? So they're similar. So what's the slope here? What's the slope in this equation? You gotta pay attention, okay? Because we've been doing this the whole lesson. Right, Santos, help him? No, in this case. This case, your slope.
N.
Okay. All right, Michael. Now this case, Michael here, what's your slope?
The slope is -3.
Good. Okay, now y-intercept here is going to be equal to Marnier. Right here. This equation, what's the y-intercept?
Oh,
E. Thank you. And Janoshin, your y-intercept for this equation.
-5.
Sorry?
-5.
Excellent. Okay, so you should be able to visualize what this what this equation looks like now, right? Without having to do all that table of values that you had to do in elementary school, right away, this now in your brain should trigger a graph that looks like this, -5. So you're gonna go down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, crossing, so that's where we start from. That's our y-intercept. Now -3, that means we're gonna go down 3, 1, 2, 3, as we run 1. So right away, you should be able to visualize a graph like that. Okay? And I can find exact values here. Exact values. Not estimated values, exactly. Because I know this value is 0, -5. And I know this value of x is 1, I know I gotta go down 3. So I know this point down here is gonna be 1, -8. I know that exactly, that point. I'm not guessing, it's not estimating, it's precise. Based on this equation, I can very quickly graph it accurately. Okay, any questions? Yeah.
What does that say for question 3? M is greater than 1 slope?
Yeah, if it's greater than 1, it's a steeper slope.
Oh.
So it's a steep slope. This is 145, that's greater than 1, and this is between 1 and 0. So this is m is greater than 1, this is m is equal to 1, and this is m is equal to 0 to 1. Between 0 and 1. Okay? Finally, summary. Y equals mx plus b is the equation of a line where m represents the slope of the line and b represents the y-intercept of the line. Okay, we've talked about that lots of times now. Where m is positive, the line rises to the right. When m is negative, the line lowers to the right. This is just review. We've learned this. This is m is positive. And this is m is negative. Horizontal line has a slope of 0. For example, y equals b. And the vertical line has an undefined slope. And x is a, where a is the x-intercept. Any questions with the lesson at all? Okay, that's the end of 5.1. You guys